Welcome to my in-depth Marco guide. If you're coming from Street Fighter and maybe happen to be a Ryu player, this character and guide will be for you. So stick around and learn how to play Marco. So why would you want to play Marco? If you're coming from Street Fighter and you're maybe a Ken or even a Ryu player, Marco is right up your alley, as he plays literally just like a Shoto with his fireball, his DP, and his Tatsu-like move, and the fact he can fake fireballs, kind of like Ryu in Street Fighter 6 with his hot show. He is a very honest character with very little to no gimmicks. So you have to play really solid with your anti-airs, your fireball game, in order to do well with Marco. So, if that sounds up your alley, then let's continue the video. So I'll just start with some of his notable normals that you should be aware of, and how to use them. So first is his stand light kick, or close stand light kick. I should be specific because close and far buttons are a thing in this game. So close stand light kick is +3 on block, and this opens up an avenue for block pressure. So you can do like a crouch jab or crouch light kick into stand jab if they try to walk back. And then you can confirm into EX Tatsu. And that'll give Marco a hard knockdown, so now you can go for a mix-up. You can also frame trap with stand or crouching heavy punch if they happen to press a button, and then you can feint cancel. So if they do press a button here and you get a counter hit, you can feint cancel, go into another crouching heavy punch, and hit confirm into a combo. That's not the best combo you can go into, but just an example. I will later go into better building blocks of his pressure. I'm just kind of showing you how to really utilize his normals, and in this example, standing light kick. Close standing light kick, my apologies. Next is a far light kick. Now, at a glance, this move may not be anything special because you can't special cancel it. Even if I do anything, it doesn't matter. However, you can use this in block strings and hit confirm it into a super. Just getting started. The better super to confirm into would be his fireball here. Next up is his overhead. So he actually has two overheads, forward light punch and then his dodge attack, which you use to avoid lows. But going off topic, forward light punch is Marco's specific overhead. It is -8 on block, so he can get heavily punished for it if the opponent happens to block it. However, if the opponent happens to get hit by Marco's overhead, he can confirm it into two things. An EX Tatsu if he doesn't want to spend super meter. This can combo meterless too. However, if you don't do the EX version, they can roll, so it kind of makes it a little more difficult for you to mix them up after. And then another route, if you do want to spend your super meter, is you can go into his fireball super. So most of Marco's lights can chain into his standing light kick, which again can be super cancelled. Now, if your opponent happens to press a button, say you do a meaty overhead, and you get a counter hit, you can combo into a crouch heavy punch, and then go into your combo from there. I messed up, but you get the gist. Next up is Marco's Standing Heavy Punch. This is his like best mid-range poke, except for his fireball, which I'll go over later. It's -4, and as you can tell, when I hit Marco and he blocks it, there's a lot of pushback to it. So this is gonna be a button to check with when you approach, so you can like dash in. Say you're back here, you can dash in and then do an immediate stand heavy punch. Or if they're like trying to dash in from further ranges, you can just kind of throw this out. Try not to be too arrogant with this move, I guess you could say, and whiff heavy, otherwise you will get whiff punished and just eat a ton of damage. On regular hit, you don't get anything. It's actually 0 on hit, and it's not special cancelable. However, it is super cancelable. And it seems to be super hit confirmable, which I'm kind of just finding out now. So that's actually really neat. On counter hit, again, you don't really get much. You're +5, and at this range, you're not really going to get anything. However, on wild punish, so if someone happens to whiff, so you get a wild punish, but this whip move is really iffy. You kind of have to whiff punish them close. But you can get a dash up and a combo. There you go. You get a wild punish, aka a whiff punish, and then you can dash up, get a crouching heavy punch, and then go into his rev art combo of whatever you want. So next up is close heavy punch. It is -8 on block, but you can make it a little safer by canceling into a fireball. You can do EX fireball to be 0 on block. But if you do cancel it, you'd probably want to go into a feint, because then you make yourself -2, which is nice. So if it does land, it's 2 hits, which makes it very hit confirmable. So then you can do stuff like that. But if you really want to go for a good hit confirm, after you can do a feint cancel and then go into crouch jab, which is his fastest button, and then do a chain into standing light kick and go into his super. You can also just do a crouching light punch into light Tatsu if you'd like, if you don't want to spend rev meter. On counter hit, you can cancel it into a feint and then go into crouch heavy punch, and again, that will lead you into a combo. Next is close standing heavy kick. If you feint cancel this, you're +3 on block. So you can go into like a crouching heavy punch frame trap or a jab. And then once you get them conditioned to like block something, so you can go like close heavy kick and then do a short. This will keep them from walking back, and then once you condition them enough to do this, you can just walk up and then throw them. And then once you condition them to do that, and then they start teching your throws, you can just kind of dash up and then jump, neutral jump, and they'll bait the throw, and then you can get a jump and punish and make them eat a ton of damage. Again, I'll go over the layers of his pressure later. Standing heavy kick into Fire EX Fireball is a gapless block string. I don't even think they can just defend it. So again, this is good to use because you can build up their rev meter too, and then at the same time keep yourself safe. But if you manage to land a hit and hit confirm it and go into a feint cancel, which is kind of what you want to do in the first place, it's pretty easy to hit confirm. Either way, you're going to go into a crouch heavy punch, and then you can go into your combo. Whoops, I kind of messed up. Do that. but this is going to be like your main pressure tool up close. You're going to dash up on a knockdown and then do stand heavy kick, close stand heavy kick into feint. Whether they block it or get hit, you can go from there. On counter hit, this will actually link into itself, which you can increase the combo damage even more.
Just getting started.
So one last normal I want to go over is his standing heavy kick, his far standing heavy kick. This can be good to check people, like up close. Say you jab check someone, you confirm the hit, like, and there's nothing you can really do from this far, but you see they get hit. You can then maybe try and frame trap them with like a stand heavy kick, and if they try and jump, you'll clip them. But most of the time they'll just sit and block if they see they get hit, and then maybe if they do like a delayed button, you can score a counter hit. And then if that's the case, you should be close enough and you can go for a counter or a crouching heavy punch confirm. So you are +9 on hit, so that's enough for a crouch heavy punch. And yeah, so if your opponent jumps at you from further out, it's a really good anti-air as well. You don't really get anything off it, unfortunately, but again, it is a good anti-air. Oh, never mind. Actually, you can go into a super. Yeah, you can use that to anti-air them. And let's talk about anti-airs. You don't really want to use crouching heavy punch. It may seem good, but most of the time you will get clipped and trade. I don't know why I'm getting hit or not getting hit right there, but most of the time you want to use his dodge attack, which is crouch and then heavy punch plus rev. You'll do this attack and it dodges all jump ins, and then you can combo actually. So you can do something like that. You can also do heavy DP and then break it and go for a follow-up combo after. Maybe like heavy kick Tatsu. But yeah, anti-airs in this game can actually net you some pretty decent damage since you're able to combo off them. Okay, so now we can go over Marco's special moves. Starting with his fireball, much like Ryu, his fireball is really good and is what you'll be using most of the time in neutral, along with faking fireballs. So if you hold forward and then press the feint button, or it's light kick plus heavy punch. Honestly, if you're not using the feint macro, you should be. But you want to use this too, along with like mixing up when you throw fireballs, because then you can bait your opponent to jump and then you can anti-air them. But the light fireball is honestly the best for frame advantage, and the heavy fireball is better for when you're like around this range. If your opponent just keeps trying to press buttons, like I'm sure you come across these players that just like they'll whiff in neutral a bunch, or they'll do like a neutral jump and then whiff, or they'll whiff and then whiff again. Like they just keep pressing buttons in neutral. That's when you use, that's when you want to use your fireball in this game, and just in fighting games in general. You can even use EX Fireball in that case if you're around this range. Marco's EX Fireball has no range at all. So it's best around like this range to use Light Fireball, and again faking your fireballs. And then once you're around this range is when you can throw heavy fireballs. And one thing about getting a counter hit with this is it's super hit confirmable because of the noise, and then you can just react to like the glass break effect around the opponent. You can link a level 1 after this. So it's like around this range is when it cuts off. So once So you can confirm it pretty far back. But again, you're mainly going to be using it like up close. So next up is Marco's Dragon Punch, his forward quarter circle forward button special. The light punch version is the invincible version and what you want to use when you get knocked down. So if you choose to wake up, you want to use light punch DP, as again it has the invincibility frames. The heavy punch version you want to use in combos since you can break it, and as anti-airs, as I explained in the anti-air section. Same with EX. You're going to use this in combos to extend them and get more damage. This is not invincible. The only version that's invincible is the light. You can't break it. The only versions you can break are the heavy and the EX. You cannot break the light, so that's the risk reward. So next is Marco's Tatsu. His light version goes horizontal, so it does have some range. The main use for this is you're going to be using it in combos. Of course, you can do something way bigger, but that's just... However, since it's not an EX move, your opponent can roll after, so just be wary of that. Heavy Tatsu, which also, this is performed by doing quarter circle forward plus kick, and not quarter circle back. So just keep that in mind. But the heavy kick version is, again, you're going to use it in combos. You can break cancel it and go for an extension. And again, just like the light version, the EX version is going to be used for a knockdown. So you're going to end this, or end your combos with this most of the time. And again, this gives them a hard knockdown, and you can go for a mix-up after. It can be an okay neutral skip move. This can be braked. So after the second hit, you just hit the feint button, and this actually makes you -2. The only downside is it pretty much gives up your turn. You can like do a light DP if you want to be gimmicky and maybe take your turn back. But it leaves them close enough for a strike throw mix-up, so maybe the best thing to do after would be to do like a delay tech. So just in case they do a throw, you'll tech it, and then if they do like a normal, you'll block it if you time it right. His quarter circle back move is a parry, which I really don't find myself using at all, or in like any high level Marco players that I've seen. You're mainly going to be using the EX version to convert into mid-screen combos like this, or pressure, which again I'll get into later. So if you hit confirm, EX fireball mid-screen, you do dash into heavy punch DP and combo from there. And his last special move is another one, again, I don't find myself using at all, but it's a zonk, I guess you can call it, since you have to press the punch button and then hold it for a full 60 frames before it'll come out. I think the heavy and light version are the same. The only versions that are different are the EX version. On block, this is +4, but has major pushback, so again, I really don't find myself using this move at all, so it's okay if you don't use this, because I don't really find it very useful. Okay, so now we can really talk about Marco's pressure and how to build upon the layering, I guess you can say. So, starting off is like his light kick, like I explained earlier, it's +3, which leaves them open to getting caught if they walk back. So if you do crouching light kick and then chain it into jab. You can confirm into like a super or EX Tatsu. And that's kind of layer 1. Then once they start respecting that, you can just go for a tick throw after standing light kick. You do kind of have to walk forward a little bit after, because if you just, yeah, you don't walk forward, you don't get the throw. So you do kind of have to take a step forward after. And then once they start teching your throws after, you can just neutral jump. So you can kind of like, so then once they like start teching your throw, you can maybe start doing like a short hop after. And then you'll blow them up and get a counter hit and score a huge combo. For his other light pressure, so if you start with a short or a low, like they're trying to walk back on wake up, you can do crouch short jab and then link or go into a far light kick. And then again, you can super cancel this, say if they get hit, just pretend they get hit. And you can do that too. You can end in a stand light punch, and if they start pressing a button at the end of that, you can add in a fireball and then possibly get a counter hit. You can even do like your block string and then delay the fireball just to change up your timing. It's always something good to do. Instead of just canceling a special move, you can just delay it. But then once they start respecting your full block string, you can just do like crouch jab and then go for a tick throw. It seems like this has the least amount of pushback. You are -1 though, so be careful. You can do stand jab as well. You're +1. But you can also just go for block string pressure. Stand jab also leads into his target combo, and if you end on the second heavy punch, right there, you're -4, and it's like unpunishable pretty much. It leaves you spaced out enough, but it can be the end of your turn, so you might want to respect the follow-up or the retaliation of your opponent. This can also be really good for like building rev meter, or if your opponent is overheated and you want to build some guard break damage and try and guard break them, you can do that as well. So next up is standing heavy kick. If you feint cancel it, it's +3, so you can do stuff like short to get them from walking back, and then once you start getting them to stop walking back, you can just do feint into walk up throw. And once they really start respecting your pressure, they're just like blocking everything, you know. You can't open them up, maybe try and throw them, but they throw tech. What you can start doing there is doing slower moves. So you can start doing close standing heavy punch after heavy kick. It's 9 frames, so it's 3 frames faster than crouching heavy punch. And even if they don't start pressing buttons after this, that's when you can start kind of micro walking up and using stand heavy kick. It is a frame slower, so it's even like a frame wider for them to press a button, which is good. And that's really how you like open up your opponent with Marco, and how you pressure with them. You can also, another sequence you can do is close heavy kick into fireball, and I was labbing this just a second ago. This is actually a really good spacing trap, since this is a gapless block string, meaning they can't DP, super, press, or do anything. They have to just block this. If they press a button, Marco is most likely out of range, but in this situation, if I block, I'm not, because Marco's standing heavy punch has pretty good range. So in that case, if the opponent's character has a normal that does reach you, you can just slightly walk back and then whiff punish. And then go for a combo. And another sequence you can do, now this costs a little bit of rev meter, but if you do standing heavy kick into EX Fireball and then his dash, this actually leaves you +3. So the standing heavy kick kind of just adds pressure and more rev damage to him. And again, you're +3. So here you can condition them after. You can do a block string, get them to not block after, and then start throwing them. And you're point blank, so then you can start short hopping and baiting their throws. And then just getting a huge combo. And again, once they start respecting your pressure, like your tight pressure, like stuff like this, that's when you can start going for throws. And then again, you want to use bigger buttons once they really start respecting it, because you want them to press a button after it and land a counter hit. And counter hits with Marco grant him huge damage. So yeah, that's really how you kind of pressure with Marco to get people to maybe press a button, land a counter hit, and the spacing trap I taught you. Again, slightly walk back against some characters, and then whiff punish with maybe like a stand heavy kick if they do a standing normal. If they do a crouching normal, you're probably gonna have to whiff punish with standing heavy punch, and then dash up and get your combo.
Yep. Nice try. Nice try. Yep. Nice try. Nice try. Say your goodbye. Say your prayer. Just getting warmed up. Just getting warmed up. Goodbye. The true path of a Kukugan warrior. Feel it in your bones. This is my football. Just getting warmed up. Money back, everybody wanna know. If you're ready, let me know.